Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I hope everybody's doing well. It's February 6, 2024. And thank you, everybody that came to the impromptu chat last night. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to talk about what happened to Mikey. And I received some emails from you guys about what has happened to your pets. And I actually received a video today that was also disturbing from a subscriber whose dog was likely also either poisoned and or hit with a directed energy weapon, D-E-W. The video is disturbing because I've seen the exact same behavior of my healthy cats. This video is of a dog, his pet, his beloved dog, who looked very healthy, very robust and healthy, whose head was hanging in the dog food dish and was not moving, just the way Mikey was. So Mikey died. I'm glad he's out of his misery. I don't know how long he was feeling horrible. I didn't see him yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon. He's usually out and about. He was at my front door in the evening when I was putting the chickens into the coop. It was around 6 p.m. I opened the door. He ran in and went to lie down on my bed. He was not himself. I knew exactly what I was looking at because I've seen it so many times before. That he was hit with a directed energy weapon, and or somebody mentioned that they may have injured him internally. They could have taken him out of his house, thrown him on the floor. I have seen this in x-rays of one of my cats that I named Kyron in New Jersey. I have the x-rays where the perpetrator cracked his hips, separated from his tailbone, so he'd never be able to urinate or defecate on his own. He was in so much pain. I've got photos of that. And he was a beautiful cat, maybe 2 years old. They cracked his hips. Another one of my cats, they deliberately ran over with a car. Deliberately. Just the way they did here in Jackson County, Kentucky, when I first moved here. I just moved here in May of 2019. Within a couple of weeks, my cat had been run over, and 4 were stolen out of their closed pod. So Mikey has passed. I have him actually wrapped up because it's cooler on my porch, and he's out there. I felt so bad because he was crawling on the floor, trying to get away from whatever was bothering him. There was nothing I could do for him. So he was in my hallway, and I had him on some cushions. He made his way from the hallway, and he passed in front of my bed, like right in the middle of where I sleep. He was right there. When I woke up, his body was laying there. And I know that it was between the hours of 3:30 and probably 5:30 a.m., the witchy poo hours. And I know for a fact, because that's usually when we're all asleep, right? But not last night, the night before. I was up really late because the criminals had put me to sleep with frequency. So by the time I showered and got into bed, it was late. I'm lying in bed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I hear these criminals running around on my property. Running. They were in back of my house. They were on the side of my house. So yeah, they're there. And they're cloaked. So it's horrible. And yes, they're into our louche. They don't like the fact that we feel joy. They want to instigate trouble and cause us to act out and map our every emotion. Psychopaths. Sick losers. Anyway, Mikey was the sweetest cat. He and his brother Milo were dumped at my cat colony while my house is listed for sale. And I'm trapping all of my cats to bring them with me. Bring them into my house, socialize them, get them, checked out, defleed and whatever. They were absolutely so clean. And then somebody dumped Mikey and Milo. I can't imagine who. It was probably that Maria in Barnegat, New Jersey, married to the copper. Yeah, she would dump all of her unwanted TNR victims, although these were not neutered. They were not neutered. She just dumped a bunch of cats there. 2 brothers. So yes, of course I took them. And I brought them into my house, brought them to the vet. While they were recovering in the cage in my house, unbeknownst to me, people were coming into my house and harming my cats that were recovering from being spayed and neutered in cages. They were harming them. They had nowhere to go. These criminals coming into my house. And let's talk about the criminals coming into my house. The paid informants, right? Citizen informants. They're also the perps. We call them the perps, the perpetrators. So let's go back to July 25, 2018, which is 6 months before the Manalapan police criminals and Tina Booth broke into my house without a warrant, after it filed a vandalism police report. So July 25, 2018, and I am so glad that I wrote this down because this is absolutely accurate. Okay? If you guys remember that I mentioned that a perpetrator moved in next door to me, a husband and wife and a kid. They were the second ones. The first ones, Steve and Vicky. Steve and Vicky, yeah. I call them the real estate mobbers. So they lived next door to me, and Steve was the one who would jump onto my porch and hide out in the shrubs on the side of his house. Yeah, and then he took my cosmetics from upstairs, and he thought it was so funny to, go in through my front door and throw them into my hallway. He. Like a 12-year-old might do. These are 40-year-old people, men and women. So after they moved out, which was actually a year to the date that they moved in, they moved across the street into the exact same house that they real estate mobbed that retired couple, destroying their house so they can buy it at pennies. The new perpetrators moved in. I call them the Russian spies. They're not Russian. I'll spell the last name. It's Ishkhanyn. Actually, what I did is I called her the Blondie Perp. The Blondie Perp. On July 25, 2018, and this is verbatim what I wrote in notes. July 25, 2018, today, the paid-for-hire neighbor, woman, and I got into a tiff. She follows me around with her phone in the yard, eavesdropping, hiding out in trees, stalking me, instead of watching her children. Do you hear that? Instead of watching her children. She uses her children to watch what I do in the yard while holding her phone. She either reading into it, talking into it, or pointing it towards me. She and her husband, who doesn't work, are often looking up at my roof or other upstairs windows. She kept peering out of her door, which was her front door, while I was outside. I was outside on my driveway. She then walks outside pretending to get something out of her trunk. And I stared at her until she said something like, "What are you looking at?" And I responded, you know exactly, something calling her a paid-for-hire stalker. She said, do you have anything else to say before I call the police? With a grin on her face. And I ignored her and walked towards my front door. That was the entirety of our incident, okay? Shortly thereafter, the Manalapan police show up at her house. They then knocked at my door, okay? They then knocked at my door. It was Officer Mataliano, number 131, incident 18MN19494. When I received a copy of the incident report, where they have the nature of the incident, number 1 said disorderly conduct. Number 2, additional offense, CDIS, citizen dispute. And number 3, get this one, folks. This is how they label you. Terror threat. Number 3, TERRTHREAT. On July 25, 2018, I spoke with responding officers Mataliano and Diesel, D-E-S-S-E-L, for more than 10 minutes about the stalking neighbor. Yet my responding comments were not accurately reported. Actually, they weren't reported at all. I didn't say that she plays on her phone. I responded that she points the phone at me and spends more time watching her phone and me than she does caring for her crying children. Do you know what she reported me for? She said that I cursed at her with her infant son in the car. There was no infant son in the car. It was all contrived and made up. So this is how corrupt cops fake incident reports. This is how they fake incident reports. So I am so glad that I wrote this. This is the information that I wrote down after the incident with my stalking neighbor. The stalking neighbor. I call her the blondie perp. Her kids would be crying. Yeah, she had 2 kids. Kids would be crying and crying. She'd be on her phone. But the Manalapan Police Department never reported any of my incidences, did not report my response. And I actually handed to the police officers the letter that I wrote to them about how they vandalized like 6 feet of my landscaping. And how they responded with a nasty letter. But that was not included in the incident report. It was completely falsified. The blondie perp at 54 Sutton Drive. Blondie perp, 54 Sutton Drive, uses her children to stalk innocent people. Uses her children to file fake incident reports. I wonder how much money she got for filing that fake incident report. What do you think, guys? How much money do you think the paid-for-hire neighbor at 54 Sutton Drive, the blondie perp, walks out of her house while I'm on my driveway? This is all deliberate. She follows me around with her phone in the yard, eavesdropping, hiding out in trees, stalking me instead of watching her children. She uses her children to watch what I do in the yard, holding her phone. She either reads into it, talking into it, or pointing it towards me. She and her husband, who doesn't work, well, he appears to not work, he's always there, are often looking up at my roof or other upstairs windows. She kept peeping out of her front door when I was outside on my driveway. Then she walked outside pretending to get something out of her trunk. And I stared at her until she said something like, "What are you looking at?" And I responded, "You know exactly." Something like calling her a paid-for-hire stalker. She said, "Do you have anything else to say before I call the police?" with a big grin on her face. Then the police arrived very quickly. This was all contrived, men and women, boys and girls. So I filed the OPA request. Yes, OPA request. It says that I displayed disorderly conduct. Yes, I was just walking on my driveway. Citizen dispute and a terror threat. I wonder if they loaded their watch list with this fake incident report, the Manalapan corrupt cop. Fake incident reports, Lieutenant Thomas Mansell, who's now a chief, I think. I don't know what he is. He got a promotion. All the corrupt ones get promoted. So, yes. And now, I remember, I was going back into my notes. Now, before Steve and Vicky moved into 54 Sutton Drive and then moved out, they purchased the house from the original neighbors of the house. My daughter was friends with their daughter, but then suddenly, weird stuff started happening around 2010 with my old neighbors Andy and Chris at 54 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey. They started playing their music really loud when they weren't home. What they would do is they would turn on Polish music in the backyard and leave the house, disappear, and just leave loud music on all the time. Then they were sawing wood in the yard until 11 p.m. at night, which goes above what the county permits. So this was going around in 2010, 2015 to 2017. So that's why now I realize that they were in on it. So I was considering that all of this started for me in 2012. And then I started looking back in my files and notes and photos and stuff, and I'm thinking, I believe it went back to 2009. Now I'm absolutely certain that my neighbors, Andy and Chris, were in on it from at least 2010. And they were my longtime neighbors. And they started doing some really bizarre stuff. Even my daughter, who was living at home at the time, complained about it. But the husband, one day, called me a skinny little whore. I remember calling up my mother. I said, "Mom, you'll never believe what Andy just called me." And when I told her, she says, "Andy called you that?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I was just asking him. There was some damage in between our properties. And he turned to me and just called me a skinny little whore, like out of nowhere. So either if he was mind controlled or he's brainwashed, but somebody approached them and said something not nice about me. That's what they do with single women who are divorced, right? I get divorced and suddenly I'm a whore, a single whore. Skinny little whore. So, fake incident reports filed by corrupt police and citizen informants, your perps, the perpetrators, the fakies. They got to fake it till they make it. And yes, I believe this blondie is still living there, 54 Sutton Drive. It's the Perp house in the neighborhood. After Andy and Chris moved out, Steve and Vicky moved in. Exactly 1 year to the date, move across the street. Another real estate mobbed house across the street that they stole literally from this retired couple. And then the new perps move in, doing the same stuff. I wonder how much Blondie and her husband are being paid to be perpetrators at 54 Sutton Drive in Manalapan. I wonder how much the corrupt cops in Manalapan got paid for that fake incident report. Calling me a terror threat for walking on my driveway? When Blondie's the one that came out and instigated trouble, and there were no children outside at that point. She told the officers that I cursed at her, with her infant son in the back seat. Her infant son was in the house. And it doesn't matter if I cursed or not, which I did not do. I realized what she was doing, and I was quiet after my comment. And then she said, "Do you have anything else to say before I call the police? Like, is that a reason to call the police? Our tax dollars are hard at work. You got perps like Blondie. The Blondie perp doesn't know how to take care of her own screaming children. She'd rather play on her phone than take care of her kids. Oh, and yes, and what about her little dog? And the little dog, too. She would only walk the little dog in front of my house and let the little dog poop on my property instead of hers." So, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please hit the thumbs up. Yeah, I'm madder than hell at what they did to Mikey. And I'm just going to keep recording these corrupt pieces of crap that place innocent people on lists for doing nothing. And then they're citizen informants, the paid for hire criminals. We're going to hashtag the Manalapan Police Department. Go check out their mission statement. Oh, maybe I should just pull it up and read it to you. 1 second. Let's see. We'll pull up the Manalapan Police Department. Let's see. Here it is. The good old Manalapan Police Department. Oh, yes, I remember this, boys and girls. Here, look at this. Look at those nice new cars they got. There was nothing wrong with their old cars, and then they got a whole bunch of new vehicles. So let's see. Oh, we have reports and complaints about the department. Okay, let's see about the department. About the department. The police department is broken up into 2 divisions and 2 bureaus, platoons, and units. Platoon? That sounds like the military. The 2 divisions within the agency are the Operations Division and the Administrative Division. Oh, let's go see. This is what I want. I really want the mission statement. Let's see the mission statement. Oh, yes, the mission statement. The Manalapan Township Police Department's mission is to work in partnership with the community, to provide services, enforce the law, preserve the peace, reduce crime and the fear of crime, and enhance the quality of life within our community. Their vision statement is: the administrative and operational philosophies and work processes of the Manalapan Township Police Department will involve every employee of the agency in an effort to continually improve public confidence by strengthening and expanding our partnership with the community by maintaining and improving upon established professional standards. And promoting personal and professional growth for our employees. The Manalapan Township Police Department will employ a process of self-evaluation. This is where they investigate their own selves. Process of self-evaluation and strive to follow best practices in law enforcement. And then they have value statement. Yeah, I kid you not. Values: excellence, professionalism, and integrity. Oh my goodness. I mean, we can have a lawsuit just based upon their vision, mission, and value statement. Excellence. The Manalapan Township Police Department will strive to continually achieve and exceed the highest standards through education, our training, our relationships with our community, our police recruitment, and our overall performance. We do this better to serve our community. This level of excellence will contribute to the overall concept that Manalapan Township is a great place to live. Well, it is a great place to live without you guys. Professionalism. The Manalapan Township Police Department is committed to providing a gold standard of professionalism and service to the community by utilizing each officer's skills, knowledge, and judgment. Oh, guys, you spelled the word judgment wrong. That is pretty bad judgment on your part. You spelled it wrong. To ensure a level of conduct and demeanor that exceeds what our community expects from their police department. Our officers will go above and beyond in the performance of their duty and cement our department's role as leaders in our community. Integrity. The Manalapan Township Police Department will serve our community with honesty, transparency, and impeccable moral principles from every officer in our police department, both on duty and our off time. Our officers will maintain a strict adherence to the rules and policies set forth from municipal, county, state, and federal levels and conduct ourselves in a manner that leaves no questions regarding our remarkable trustworthiness and strong moral foundations. Okay. What do you think about that, men and women? Have you gone to the police department's mission, value, and vision statement where you live? I'd like to know. Leave a comment down below. Please hit the thumbs up. Oh, yeah, you know, when you report crimes here, I just want to tell you folks, it's uniform crime reports. They don't add. Anybody that's targeted that reports a crime does not get included in their crime reports. Okay? So they have here uniform crime reports. Police Department from 2014 to 2017. You know, I filed lots of those reports, right? Oh my goodness. In 2014, they only had 9 incidences of robbery. Well, that's not true. I probably had all of those 9 in 2014. Oh, only 7 in 2015. Only 4 in 2016 and 3 in 2017. That is for the entire population, which at that time was 39,851. And that was approximately a 30.85 mile radius. That's right, folks. Meanwhile, back at the 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, a home I lived in for 30 years as original owner, they said that there were only 3 robberies for the entire township of Manalapan in 2017. Well, that is a fake statistic. 2016, only 4 robberies. That's another fake statistic. 7 in 2015. That's a fake statistic. 2014, only 9 robberies. That's another fake statistic. I guess they didn't report all the vehicle break-in robberies, too. You know, where people were going around breaking into everybody's cars that were parked on the driveway, stealing stuff. That wasn't included. That would be a robbery in my book. And of course, none of my incidents has ever made it to this crime report. The Uniform Crime Report does not include any crimes reported by targeted individuals. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, exposing one corrupt criminal at a time. Citizen informants, you're perpetrators. Here. I'm sorry for the glare. It's a very sunny day today. There you go, folks. Oh, and by the way, let's go back to their mission statement here. About the mission statement, the vision statement, and their values of excellence, professionalism, and integrity. If you go to the YouTube channel New Jersey Exposed, he exposed a couple of these criminals. One of them has a penchant for 16-year-old girls. Yeah, high school girls. Yeah. And by the way, the Manalapan High School is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Manalapan Police Department. Yeah, so one of their very own is likes young girls. Knew she was 16 years old and he didn't care. Did not care. Psychopath. A lot of psychopaths at that department. But anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I think I've said enough. And thank you, everybody who left your condolences for Mikey. I love Mikey. I can't say anything else about it. I'm going to sign off for now.